Hey y'all, hello YouTube, what's good with it? It's your boy XButX. I have a video for y'all today. It's about the ejective player mindset tier list for xDefiant. Please enjoy the content. I'm gonna have timestamps down below. You can check out your favorite faction and what I think about it, and let me know in the comments how you feel about my tier list. Thank you for watching. First time on this channel, we are actually doing a tier list, and it's over xDefiant factions. Now, I understand there's different ways that you can look at this, but specifically for this, today, we're going to base this off of the objective player mindset. I know we have a whole bunch of Slayer players on this game, and I know that everybody likes to go to just killing everything, but from the perspective of how this game is supposed to be played, we're going to base this off of the objective players. And we're going to do this in a specific way. We talked about different ways we want to do this. If we want to start off with passive and then go to activated and then like maybe the ults in the end. But what we're actually going to do is we're going to base this off of factions. And they'll be timestamped through the video so you could go straight to your favorite faction and figure out what I think about your faction. So starting off, we're going to start off with the Cleaners. They're a division type faction. If you ever play the Division, then you know what I'm talking about. If not, look into the game. It's actually a pretty good game. But the first thing we're going to go over is the Incendiary rounds for the passive trait. So pretty much the Incendiary rounds for the passive trait is absolutely disgusting. Every shot that you take as a cleaner, every time you hit them, every single time you hit somebody, you get an extra dot damage. Based off of that, I can't remember what exactly the dot damage is when it comes to like how much damage over time actually happens. But when it comes to actually playing the objective and staying on it, and actually getting things done, the Incendiary rounds actually come in clutch, especially in 1v1 situations, 8 damage over time. There we go. Perfect. See, look, we already have smart people in the chat. Everybody can see it in the little bottom right corner. But with the Incendiary rounds, you get 8 damage over time. So when you're really thinking about it, when you're playing objective or you're trying to actually win the game, sometimes that 8 damage actually comes in clutch. There's a lot of times when you're playing other classes, you're leaving people at like 5 health, 2 health, 1 health. You're like, oh, I should be able to finish that kill. But really, what it comes down to is that this Incendiary round, definitely an S tier type of trait, especially for passives. Passives over time, some of them are kind of weak, but when it comes to the Cleaners, this is probably one of the top traits when it comes to the Cleaner faction, and it's actually their passive. But the next one is the Incinerator drone. Very, very situational. Depending on the objective that you're playing, I know that this is a very overarching type of tier list, but for this, when we're talking about the Incinerator drone, we're talking about how we could take over an objective. And if you use it properly, it can actually be very devastating. There's different ways that you could use it. You could use it to, I wouldn't necessarily go with C tier. It is situational, but there's different ways you could use it, right? So if you're going to use it the right way, you should use it in ways that you can block off the area, because it's a line of damage, right? So if you're using this in the way that it's supposed to be utilized, you actually either want to start the engagement with an Incinerator drone, or after you grab the objective, you actually want to block off the side. Typically speaking, yes, some people will run through the damage, but you already have that additional damage on top of that opponent that'll actually help out a lot. It could be very beneficial if somebody's running through your fire. Because one, and when flinch actually does matter, at some point, when it actually does become a thing, and we actually do get the flinch, that Incinerator drone would be super, super, super nice to have one side blocked off, even if it's a couple seconds. That extra couple of seconds could be the difference between winning the game and going into the next objective, and they already have it blocked off because they spawned in the right area, and you're screwed because you're across the map. Yeah, flinch, ew, right? So I wouldn't say necessarily C. It is very situational, but it could also be good if you use it properly, right? Because there's another way you can use it is to start your engagements, right? So when you're coming around a corner, you can actually send the Incinerator drone to see if you get any dot damage or see if there's anybody actually around that corner off of the way that the Incinerator drone works. Because when you use it, it just throws the drone out forward, and there's fire. It leaves a fire path, and then it explodes at the end. And sometimes you can sweep a kill or two, especially if you're going to an objective. So for me, Incinerator drone goes into the B tier. Definitely the B tier. It can be outscaled by other abilities, absolutely. But if we're talking off of the sense of being able to grab an objective, you could you could use the incinerator drone to definitely help out changing the, what would be the words, changing the way that the game is going. The next one is Firebomb, and this ability can change the outcome every single game. Every single game. It takes out alts, especially Phantom alts. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times somebody's ran into a bubble and blown me up with the Firebomb. You could use this to take out an entire area. Like, say, for Occupy, and you're going inside of an objective, the Firebomb is going to be your best friend. It is a very, very, very good ability to use once you master it. There are so many different scenarios where you could just walk into an area and you can restart the area. Super OP. It's either going to be borderline A or S tier. Now, when you first start the game, you're definitely going to be in the A tier area. Because when you're using your Firebomb, there's a lot of times that you'll just be walking around the map, right? And you get into a firefight, you know what I'm saying? You're having that one-on-one like in the corner of the map, and then you just detonate. You know? You just detonate, right? So when you're really thinking about this specific ability, you got to think about over time, like how are you going to use it, right? A lot of the times, I'm going to tell you right now, if you run into an objective and you detonate a Firebomb, you're probably getting 1 to 2 kills every time. Because when somebody sees a cleaner running towards them and they're using the Firebomb, more than likely not, they're going to panic, they're going to use their ability wrong, or they're not even going to see it coming. Because a lot of times, especially on specific maps where you can jump down onto the opponents while they're in the objective, that's a free kill every time. Nobody's ever going to stop it. You also take out the Phantom, and they have a passive ability that makes them pretty overpowered as well. So for me, if we're talking overtime, when this ability becomes mastered, I will actually consider this S tier based on the player. This could go either way. It's very, very strong. You could take people out of their abilities. It doesn't matter what alt they're in. And you can clear whole areas. You could get 2 to 3 kills if they're stacking an objective point. And we all know how xDefiant players are right now. Everybody likes to stack on top of each other, right? So if you run into an objective and you use your Firebomb, those are a free couple of kills. So for me personally, I do believe that this is an S tier ability. As long as you use it properly, you have to utilize it. But if you're utilizing it right, you could take out any sort of opposition that could be overpowered. So S tier for me. The next one is the Ultra for the cleaners. And their Ultra turns them into somebody running around with a flamethrower. You hear it from a mile away, right? Every single ult has an indicator, and all it is for a purifier is somebody yelling, and then there's a flamethrower. I actually don't think this is a strong ult. It takes a couple of seconds for it to start, and you can take out a purifier from distance. And it's quick. It's quick. Usually you're going to be trading if you're trying to kill a Phantom in their ult. If you're trying to go up against a Echelon, if you're trying to go up against an Echelon, there's a really good chance that you're not even going to kill them because they can shoot you from distance with their pistol. You can automatically lose your ult if you're going against a Deadsec player that is using their ultimate. It's outclassed in many, many ways. And depending on the map, for most maps, you're not really going to get anything out of it. I really do truly believe this is probably one of the worst ults in the game as of right now. And I would definitely put this in C tier. It's very situational. There's not many opportunities where you can actually use it as an objective. Yeah, you're going to run to a place, but then you got to think about all the different abilities that you're going up against. The mag shield being number one. You're not going to have enough reaction time to take down the shield and the person for the majority of the time. When you're going up against anybody with the UAV, if they see the UAV, like, right, you're on their UAV and you're using the ult, they could just run away. You know? And then when it comes to other things, like even the digital ghillie suit can mess up somebody that's in the purifier ult. Because it's not good enough for where the state of the game is right now. On some maps where you can jump down on enemies. Yeah, that's just like the Firebomb. But like we're saying though, it's very situational. It can be strong. And there are times that we complain about it. there there are a couple times that we complain about it, right? So for the Purifier and its Ultra, it can be good in very, 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 very few situations, but overall, you're probably not gonna get the bang for your buck. It's probably something that you're just gonna waste when you're either up really big or you're just trying to burn alt to get to a new area, and even then, it's probably not gonna do so well. And that's what I have for the cleaner. I'll keep it at C because there are times where you can use it, and there's a couple times where the kill feed shows the Purifier. But for an objective based ability, there are situations where you can't use it, so we'll keep it in the situational. We'll keep it in the situational for now. Over time, it may change. Hopefully, it might actually get a buff. This actually might be an ability that I might even recommend to get a buff. Next, we go on to the Echelon class, and this one is based off of Splinter Cell, so you get more of your stealthy and intelligence type gameplay, right? First things first, low profile. Your character does not appear on opponent's minimap regardless of actions performed. That could be overpowered. I wouldn't consider it top tier. It sounds like it's top tier, but in a game like xDefiant right now, necessarily speaking, the minimap isn't as important as it should be yet, because a lot of the things that we utilize is visual, actually looking around. It has to be in front of me, because the way that URVs are used right now, it would be good in ranked. It would be, but we're not really in that ranked mindset yet, because we're still in the preseason. And when it comes to a 6v6 situation, the low profile passive trait isn't necessarily very strong yet. It can be in a 4v4 situation, but if we're talking objective and we're talking casual gameplay 6v6 and we're talking the state of the game right now, the passive trait is cool, but based off of how things are working right now, I would put it in the great area in this moment. Don't get me wrong. It could be better, it could be worse. I am getting kind of mixed vibes on this one as of right now. It could be very good depending on the objective that you're playing. But if you're playing something like Escort, or if you're playing Zone Control, this necessarily doesn't really do anything for you. So, actually speaking, in that sense, if we're bringing all objectives into this mindset, it would probably be actually good, because as of the mindset right now, we're gonna go back to this, and we're actually about to talk about it really soon. There's actually an ability that is above par of everything else. Like, it's absolutely amazing. So for right now, low profile would actually be good. I wouldn't consider it great, and I wouldn't consider it situational. It's just something that you could use to either flank the enemy if you're using other abilities to get there. But I think it's good right in the middle. Right in the middle. The next one, yeah, we're just gonna put that in very weak. There's really not much you can say about digital ghillie suits. Renders the agent nearly invisible. Movement and aiming reduce the effect. Let me be very honest with you. This is a very, very horrible ability that needs to be upgraded. You don't even go fully invisible. Okay. All right. Once you shoot, you become visible. Movement and aiming reduce the effect, right? So you're moving, and it's like they want you to camp in the digital ghillie suit, but this game isn't about camping. It's about moving around. So for an objective-based mindset, this doesn't help you at all. Yeah, it could be used to flank. I understand that, but it doesn't. There's not many times that I'm going to be using a digital ghillie suit to get to the objective. There's many other things that I could use. And even then, yeah, you have low profile and you can add it onto the digital ghillie suit. Even if you're coming up behind them, you don't actually have that much time, because when you start aiming, the time's reduced. When you start shooting, well, your digital ghillie suit went away. So this doesn't help the objective player at all. For Slayer players, this go up a little bit higher. It would. But for the objective mindset, D tier every time. I can't even really think of a scenario where you would use the digital ghillie suit. The next one, though, the Intel suit. Periodically sends a sonar wave that shares position of enemies around you with your team. I mean, honestly, with your team. It's... you could use it in every situation. You could run 6 people of intel suits and win the game just based off of everybody doing it the right way. So if you communicate with your team, like say you're running a 6 stack, you're not getting beat for the most part, unless you're facing another one, and you only really need 3. Yeah, because it's on a short cooldown. It's absolutely broken in the mindset of just how it is right now. It needs to be nerfed. I do believe that an intel suit needs to go to just the person that's using it. But for now, in an objective mindset, if you pop, yeah, 30-second cooldown, and you can use it for 15 seconds. If you pop an intel suit, everybody sees the enemy. You're not like you know exactly where they are, and that's what you need for an objective mindset. Like if you're using this in an objective mindset, more likely than not, the enemy's gonna go down. And you're gonna be able to hold down that area for a lot longer than what you should have. So definitely S tier, strongest ability in the game as of right now. And then sonar goggles, nearly a one-shot pistol for most ranges, and you see everybody. Kind of crazy, right? You have your activated ability, digital ghillie suit, and then you have low profile in the passive trait, but then you have intel suit and sonar goggles. If you use an intel suit and then you go straight into a sonar goggles and you have your UAV up for your team and then you just run it around one-shotting people, it's absolutely destructive. This can absolutely turn the tides of any objective if you use it properly. Yes, you could use it as a Slayer player, and you could use it at all times. You could use it at all times. And even I'm going to move it over to here because it's hard to be beat. Once I see sonar goggles be activated, and I hear the what sound does it make? It's the frog, right? Frogman. We call it Frogman as a nickname. Once I hear Frogman running towards me, I'm running the other way, or I'm setting up a mag barrier, and I'm hoping I get the shots off before I get 2 shot. Because it only takes 1 or 2 shots to take down the mag shield, and then it takes just another shot to take me out, and that's it. I'm respawning. The objective is theirs. You might as well just wait till the next one. Right? So that's it for the Echelon class. You have some really good abilities that go straight into the S tier, and then you have the weakest ability in the game, and then you have kind of a mid tier. So if you're using the Echelon, I prefer that it should be preferred that you utilize the intel suit, and then your ultra is just, it's great. There's really not beating it. There's really nothing that's beating it. Yeah, right? It can be actually utilized quite well for an objective player. Using this as an objective player can actually be very beneficial, especially when you're saying with the whole 15 seconds for 30 seconds, you know where they're coming from, right? So even with the low profile, right, you still see them on the radar. So if you're using it in the objective mindset, it's still S tier. It's still S tier. One person using it and seeing somebody for 15 seconds and your entire team sees it, and you're sitting on occupy, you can set up a mag barrier shield. You can even just wait. You can have a healing going off. Like, you have so many different things that you could utilize while in the objective with an intel suit. If you're using an objective mindset, you can't beat it. You can't beat it. But going on to the next one, we're going to go into the Libertads. I looked it up, and that's how they said to say it. So it's called the Libertads. They're the freedom fighters of Far Cry 6. That's where the faction comes from, if anybody was wondering where. A spirit de Libertad, the contagious spirit of freedom, slowly heals you and nearby allies. I've never actually really felt this. So I'm just going to throw this in. I think every time I've played with healer classes, I never actually truly feel it. So this is going to also, it's going to go into the very weak. It's probably the weakest passive trait in the game until I see another one. But yeah, I don't think this is strong enough to even be situational. There's never a time where I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, yeah, I really need that passive to happen right now. Or yeah, that passive is really helping me out right now. It's not really, I mean, yeah, it could be for yourself, but like even then, like if we're talking the objective mindset, that's not really helping anybody. It's not really helping yourself either. It's very individualized, and it might be beneficial in like hot shot, but overall, I don't think this is a good enough passive trait at all. So we're gonna go into the activated abilities. Pushers, yeah, I guess, but even then, I don't really know. No, Yeah, that's very true. It doesn't heal fast. It doesn't heal enough or fast enough. So when it comes to the passive trait, really don't depend on it. This isn't something you can depend on. And if you're not depending on it as an objective player, then it needs to be. It's going to be considered very weak. Hmm. Until I actually see it actually do something, we'll keep it very weak for now. Even situational, I can't really think of many situations. Maybe one situation, but not necessarily good enough. Not necessarily good enough. Of course you are. The next one, the Biovidia Boost, or Biovita Boost. A fortifying wave boosts total health and regen for you and nearby allies. So this ability, right, can be really good and it can be really bad. Really good and really bad. It's a quick healing ability. I've actually felt this one a couple times. Right? And give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Thankfully, we can edit this part out. All right? Thank gosh. Okay. I found it. Cool. All right, so the next ability is the Biovita Boost. It's a fortifying wave that boosts total health and regen for you and nearby allies. This works from 65 feet, from 0 to 65 feet, and it heals you up to 120 health, and it lasts for 5 seconds. 5 seconds. This could be utilized quite well, but in the long scheme of things, I wouldn't really rate this one too high in accordance with the other abilities that we have, like Intel Suit and Firebomb, right? Because it's very minimal in the grand scheme of things. Because once you hit it, it's good for 5 seconds, and then that's it. There's not really much else happening when it comes to the ability. You can still die very rapidly if you have somebody that you're going up against that can hit headshots, or if you have a team that's rushing you and you're sitting on the point. It won't actually help in the long run. It's good, but it won't actually help in the long run, I don't think. I've never really had an issue with killing anybody that has the Biovito Boost. Like, it's weak, but if you're using it properly, it could be very situational, right? But it's a one-time heal, and it lasts for 5 seconds. For everybody within 65 meters. I was going to say, yeah, Shinny's back, and he likes to use this class. I would have to say that it's good, but I can't see myself putting anything in great. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I would say you could use it, but are you thinking the Slayer point of view or an objective point of view, Shinny? We're using this specifically for an objective point of view. How often are you sitting on the objective and you're using it to help? Yeah. See, see, this is when it becomes a little different. Yeah, no, yeah, it's not as good. Maybe situational for like a in between fights. You know how there's like a couple seconds where you're sitting on the objective and you like took a nade. After a nade, using this isn't actually a bad idea because you'll get the regeneration of health. So I wouldn't say it's very weak. It's very situational, and that's maybe the one thing that you use it for. But it's the one thing that you could use it for that's actually beneficial because it heals the team within 65 meters or 65 feet. Sorry, I've been saying meters, so I'm about to edit that out. But Biovita Boost is good up to 65 feet. It gets you up to 120 health, and it lasts for 5 seconds. You could use that as an objective player in very little situations, such as, and really the only situation I can think of is one, you guys just got to the objective and you took everybody out, and you're sitting there for a second before the next wave comes, pop the boost. And then the second reason you would use the situational Biovita Boost is when you get hit by a nade, or they throw the Semtex and they're about to come around the corner. You pop the boost, you got that regeneration of health while you're fighting them off. So for this one, I think we'll put it in C for the objective player. You could use it properly. There's not very many situations for it, but it's still good. It can still be good. You could use it to turn the tide when you're being attacked. Honestly. Okay. So the next ability, the activated ability for the Libertads, is El Remedio. It is utilized at a rate of 12 health per 0.45 seconds and a longer duration of 25 seconds or until it's destroyed. It covers a radius of 25 feet and has a 30-second cooldown. So your next ability is El Remedio, right? So it'll heal you and your teammates at a rate of 12 health per 0.45 seconds and for a longer duration of 25 seconds until it's destroyed. And then it goes on a 30-second cooldown and it covers 25 feet. This could be very situational as well. I don't really ever have a problem taking this out though, right? You can use an EMP grenade, you could shoot it, you could accidentally misplace it. So it's a little bit better than the boost because you could put it down, it's like an AoE heal. And it does heal 12 health every half a second. We'll go for half a second, even though it's 0.45, right? So I consider this to be a good ability. Like I said, it's a little bit better than the boost. But I wouldn't really put it above anything else. Yeah, I'm thinking B tier because it's a little bit better than situational because there are more times that you could use El Remedio. You can use it in the same situations, right? Somebody throws a grenade. You just got done with the fight, but you could also utilize it during. You could actually throw it down when your team is being overran or everybody's kind of low. This is actually good for overtime. So this could be at the beginning of the fight. It can happen you could say keep it during the fight, and then it'll actually still be there after it as well, as long as nobody destroys it. So that's why you can't really put it in the gray area, but you could keep it in the good because depending on what team you're facing and how you place it, you could place it behind other things and it still works. It definitely should be above low profile. Yeah, it definitely should be above low profile, but it doesn't. It still doesn't match the incinerator drone. I don't think. Yeah. Yeah. So I would keep it here in this area. You could throw this canister behind something and it still works in that 25 feet and you could utilize it that way. And if you're smart, you're healing your team over time. And as long as your team knows how to sit in a circle and not run around too crazy I would definitely keep it in the good tier. And then we're going right into the Supremo Ultra. So for the Supremo Ultra, it's a backpack that provides a large health and healing boost for a limited time. You also put this down, and it heals you and your nearby allies within 15 feet by 10 health points. Oh, that's the passive. Sorry, that's the passive. The Ultra ability, the Supremo Ultra, provides a large health boost for 10 seconds and has a radius of 10 feet. And this puts you up to 200 health. I would not put this in very strong because you could still die pretty easily in it. It gives you 100 health, and you got to stay within 10 feet of it. You can run in and out, and this will actually be our first great because it can be very, very strong. It can be very, very strong, right? And it can't be destroyed unless, it gets hit by the lockout. But, it can be utilized great by a person that understands how to use the alt. There are many different ways that you could use this alt. You could use it at the beginning of the objective. You could use this to heal everybody up after you take over an objective. You could use this to fight to get, if you're around the corner, right, and you pop this and you're trying to take over an objective on many different maps, you could actually use this in a way that you can jiggle peek, you can bunny hop utilizing this. If you're trying to overwhelm the enemy while they're trying to attack you while you're on the defense, you could use this in a great way, especially if you wait till last minute or last second and they go into the objective. Okay, they're automatically assuming you're going to have 100 health. If you can pop this off, you're more than likely always going to win the fight if you have good aim. If you don't have good aim, good luck. Good luck. But this is a very big crutch. If you're inside the objective with the enemy and you guys are fighting each other, you could use this very, very good. Very, very good indeed. However, you could still die in it. It's still very possible for you to die in it. Still very possible for you to die in it, especially if you're facing a couple people in the objective. And if you're by yourself, I wouldn't really recommend using this. I would probably use the BioVita boost or the AoE heal. You should only be really using this when you're with your team. You should not be doing this in a solo. This is not a solo ult at all. You could if you're really good, you say you got the movement and you're top of the list, top tier, always like you're a pro. Yeah, you could probably use this solo, but this is a very team-based ultra. This is actually an objective-based ultra. It's very good, but it's not very strong because you can still die if you're getting nade spammed. If you're getting hit with EMPs, you don't really see what's going on anymore. You can't really use your abilities with it. A tier is great for it. Absolutely great. Not the strongest. The strongest still goes to the sonar goggles, and there's really nothing that can really beat that, because those goggles are super overpowered, but definitely an A tier type ability. And then now we're gonna be going into the what is my next faction that I'm gonna be working through? I'm assuming this is Deadsec. Yep. I think this is Deadsec. Yeah, this is Deadsec. Not a lot of people really use this faction still. I still feel like this is like the bottom tier faction overall. To start off with the Fabricator, after device is deployed, the Fabricator prints a new one. It actually does that. For the passive ability, it prints a new device every 15 seconds. So when you throw a device, aka if you throw a frag, if you throw a proxy mine, every 15 seconds you'll get a new one. But you have to throw the previous one, right? So it could be good, it could be bad. You actually have to live after you use it, and depending on the situation that you're using it for, you'll probably not be using this ability a lot. There are situations where it could be good. When you're nade spamming and you're trying to get into an area, you could throw it, but 15 seconds is a long time still, and like you have to throw it and then the ability starts. So you really got to be careful on how you're using this one. Yeah, it's great. Every 15 seconds you could throw a grenade, but objectives really don't last that long in this game. It could be very beneficial in escort and zone control because those do take a while. But if we're talking occupy and you have that 60 seconds, by the time you get to the zone and you're throwing that nade, 15 seconds is a long time. So I'm very, very debatable on how good this trait actually is right now, especially with how early in the game that we are. But for right now, I'm gonna put it in good because you could absolutely use this a lot. But you still got to think this is for the objective player mindset. I would say it's a little bit better than situational because you can use multiple nades in a time span for an objective, which can be very beneficial. You could throw a proxy mine, wait 15 seconds, and then throw another one, and then you're already ahead of the game because proxy mines are super overpowered because you barely see it. There's no marking above it, and I just die a lot from it. So honestly, this is kind of like a me thing. Like this is a really like Fabricator is like it's a pain in the butt to deal with. Very big pain in the butt. And also, what's going to be going in here for right now until they fix the spider bots are great. And this is why. Spider bots are annoying. All right? And I understand this is for the objective player mindset, right? Okay. Two things. One, if you throw a spider bot before you walk into the objective, more than likely not, they're going to be looking at the spider bot. They might not even make it to the enemy. But if you're using it to go into the objectives, it's really annoying. Also, there's a bug right now. Get it? There's a bug for the spider bot that sometimes the spider doesn't go on your face. It sits on the ground and it just sits there. And no matter how many times you shoot it, you can't shoot it off your own face. Right? Right? So because of this bug, it's great. This is a great ability. You could use it for any scenario, and more than likely you're gonna win your 1v1. Now, if it's a team, if we're going off a team objective mindset, okay, this might be a little bit more of a good situation for the ability. But for right now, when we're talking early XDefiant, season 0, casual 6v6, this spider bot can change the tides quick because everybody, once they hear the spider, I promise you, they're looking at the spider. Everybody's looking for the spider. And of course, you being you, if you're using the spider bot, you're going to follow your spider. And you're going to get your kill. They're really sleeping on it. Yeah, I mean, in general, they are really sleeping on Deadsec. But as of right now, when we're playing on 11 June 2024 at 8 o'clock at night, you know what I'm saying? The spider bot kind of busted. I won't say very strong, but it's pretty great. You could use it in there's so many different ways you could use a spider bot. I have so much hate for this ability. It just bothers me how good this ability can be. On the other hand, right, we have Hijack. It has a 30-second cooldown. Very situational. Immediately. Very situational. Absolutely very situational. There's not very many like it's a good ability. It's a really good ability, but I think the 30-second cooldown is too long. I really do. You're only taking out the one mag shield that's probably up, and you have EMPs, right? When it comes to the objective, cool, yeah, it's fine, but I think the cooldown is too long for hijack. I really, really do. I think if they reduce it, we can get it up into the good or the great. But for now, you can use this on an ability and it turns around. It's only really good if you're facing, it's only really good against one specific class. And there's really no other place I would put hijack. It just hacks the enemy deployed abilities and make them your own. And that's really only going to be used for the AoE heal if you are even thinking about using El Ramido, the enemy's El Ramido. But no, every 30 seconds you're going to be kind of waiting for the bigger ability, which is going to be that mag shield that's kind of holding down, or the mag barrier that's kind of holding down the area, you know? So hijack, very situational, and it's really only specifically for one ability. But Fabricator, the passive trait for Fabricator, the passive trait for Fabricator would definitely be A tier. And this is why. When you're using EMP grenades in the objective mindset, because that's probably what you're going to be using as a Deadsec when you're doing objective, you can spam EMP grenades on the objective. That's very strong, very strong. It stops phantoms, it stops the Libertads, it stops the UAVs. It's a very counter play passive trait, and it's probably one of the better passive traits in the game. You could use this to stop necessarily everything from happening, which also ties into its ultra as well. It definitely ties into the ultra as well, which we'll be talking about here in a minute. But the Fabricator is definitely a good passive trait because every 15 seconds after you throw the grenade, you get a new one. So if you're spamming, if you're the one person on your team that's spamming to get to the objective, if you are on the offense and you're trying to take over the objective, this passive trait is probably the best in that aspect, right behind or even in front of incendiary rounds. But this is still more situational. Incendiary rounds, you can use that at any time. Fabricator, you can use it every 15 seconds if you're utilizing it every 15 seconds. So it stays in the great category. Definitely below the Spider Bot because the Spider Bot at right now is busted. Even though you could probably say it's more of a Slayer type of A tier, and maybe you could bring it down to the B tier for objective player. But if you're using it properly, it's definitely good to utilize the Spider Bot. Also, it can be good for defense when people are pushing in because then, like Namek is saying in the chat right now, as you can see, it can stop people from utilizing their abilities to attack as well. So if you can utilize the Fabricator passive trait on offense and defense, you are definitely helping out your team in a way that most won't be able to actually help in because they're not understanding how the game works yet. EMP grenades are great. And then on top of that, if you can have one every 15 seconds on offense and defense, you're crushing the game. No abilities are being utilized in the objective, and that's what you're trying to stop, is those abilities from happening. So this is a very, very great ability. There are some situations where you wouldn't be able to utilize it as well, depending on what you're playing, but definitely great. It's a great passive trait. So we'll keep it in the A tier. And then for the last one for Deadsec is Lockout Ultra. Prevent enemies from using their ability in Ultra in an area of effect. It goes... Lockout works everywhere. Lockout, the ultimate ability, disables enemies' mini-maps and abilities for 20 seconds. The objective player can't really beat that. However, it's going to stay in A tier, and this is why. It'll go above Fabricator. This is why it'll stay in A tier. It's only good for one life, right? So if you use the lockout and you lock out a team and you don't wipe them, right? You still can have them come back with the minimap and abilities. So this is like the best situational / objective player mindset Ultra, tier for it. Because you could use it in every single scenario. You absolutely can. It's very strong in most scenarios. However, it's only good for the one life of your enemy, right? So as I'm saying, right? Say you do your first push, there's 4 people on the objective. You use this Ultra, and all of them can't use their abilities for 20 seconds. This ability works for 20 seconds where they can't see where you're coming from, and they can't use their abilities. If you're not taking everybody out, the Ultra was wasted. So it's very, very, very situational. If you can't take the whole team out, then you wasted this Ultra. You have to wipe them. If not, their abilities come back up, and you have people running back to the objective. And the maps really aren't that big to where you can make this S tier. Because most of the objectives, Occupy, Domination, the points really aren't that far. Especially when you're spawning in again. So, it's capped due to how it works, but it's really, really good. It's great. It's absolutely great. Definitely the definition of great. So, Lockout, I would even say it's above Spiderbot too. Right behind the, give me a skin. xDefiant while watching him. Oh, let's go. Wasn't even really expecting that. That's what I like to hear. But yeah, Lockout, definitely the definition of great, right below Libertad. Appreciate it. Now, my favorite class. This is what I main in xDefiant. I have multiple hours. Yeah, it really is just A tier because of the bug. It's a really annoying bug. Just so you know, you can actually shoot it off your face. So if the spider bot is actually on your face and you see it on your screen, you can actually look down and shoot the spider. Just so you're tracking. Yeah. For Phantom, I definitely have multiple hours played. I can't even remember what is it like. Yeah, I have hundreds of hours. How many hours is it actually? I guess I could say it, huh? Let's see. xDefiant tracker. 155. Dang, I did be playing it a lot, huh? All right. So, take it from me, the Phantom player main. I have 155 hours played of the Phantom faction. By far, my favorite faction. I use it for every game. I never change it up. I did at first to see how all the factions was, and I automatically fell in love with the Phantom faction. So I might be a little biased, but I'm going to try my hardest to make sure that I grade these abilities right. First off, Harden, everybody always cries about it. Immediately into very strong. It gives you an extra 20 HP. It helps with every single gunfight that you're in. There's really, you can't really beat it. An extra 20 health in this game is amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's 20 HP. And I can't tell you how many times after a game somebody comes into my chat and they're like, wow, you're using the Phantom class. You get this extra 20 HP and you're abusing it. Well, as an objective player, the extra 20 HP is monumentally broken. And you're right. It is going to go above incendiary rounds because I'm a Phantom main. And I absolutely love this ability. That's another reason why I use it. All I do is play objective. Watch my content. I'm all about objective. I will sit on the objective and take 20 deaths and 5 kills, and I'll cry about it. But at the end of the day, I'm still playing objective, and I got... You could... it's definitely the best passive in the game. I just want to tap you, don't worry. Yeah, see, here's the thing, though. Even with the 128 health, you don't have to worry about as many things one-tapping you as you do the other factions in the game. It is busted. It's amazing. It's the best passive trait in the game. I will die on that hill. I'm never going to move from that. It's not as good as the Ultra for the sonar goggles. The Intel suit is absolutely just busted right now because it helps the whole team. But if you're talking about being an objective player and you're sitting in the corner of the objective and you get hit with a nade, that 20 HP is probably going to save you. Getting shot by a sniper, you're probably going to live. If you're being pushed by one person, come on. You're not beating it. the staying S tier. It's very strong. If you're being intel suited, they still got to be worried because you're a phantom. You have that 28 HP, and if you know what angle they're coming from, then you shouldn't lose. You should not lose the 1v1. You have an extra 20 health, you know. So definitely S tier. And you know what else is going in the S tier? Oh boy, you already knew it. You already knew I was gonna be biased to this. You already know the mag barrier. And let me tell you what, it's better than the firebomb. Is it better than incendiary rounds though? Dude, no. This is the one thing. No, this is the one thing I will die on this hill. You know how many times I've used the mag barrier? No. You know how many times I've used the mag barrier to beat a firebomb? On the objective? We're talking the objective here, y'all. This is how you initiate. Okay, alright. I'll counter your counter, right? You can use the EMP. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. I actually have nothing for you. You can shoot it, but you're wasting your ammo. Am I being biased? Am I being too biased? You guys are bringing up good points. Ugh. I don't want to give it A tier, though. It's so good. You just have to know how to use it, you know? What's better than this? Is it better than this? Is it better than the spider bot? Top of the A tier? No, it can't be better. No, it can't be better than lockout. It can't be. Because the barrier also goes away with lockout. No, spider bot's good where it's at. The only reason why it's there is because of a bug. And you still gotta think this is objective mindset. The spider only goes on one person. Although it can jump on somebody twice. But it's only up there because of the bug. It even frustrates me that I have to put it above fabricator. Yeah, but 3 jump on you, that means it's not jumping on other people. Spiderbot's good where it's at. Mag barrier can be fine. I'll put it back down here. Hold on. Fine. Mag barrier is the top of A tier. It's not very strong because it can be countered by every counterable. Come on, bud. Get top 1 with phantoms. I know. We'll get there. We'll get there. Mag barrier is A tier, at the top of the A tier, because it is true. There are many different things that can counter it. It could be hacked. It could be EMP grenade. It could be shot by more than 2 people. And if we're in the objective mindset, you have to think team versus team, not 1v1. Mag barrier in a 1v1, busted. I'll beat every single person with the 1v1. Because if you're throwing an EMP grenade and we're in a 1v1, I'm going to shoot you while you're throwing it at me. But that is the one Slayer mindset I have. But when it comes to the mag barrier, you can use it in so many different ways. But it can be countered. EMP grenades. It can be hacked. If you have multiple people shooting in it, it's going down. And it's going down quick, and you're going to die almost immediately afterwards. But you could use it to initiate fights. You do have the first second or two to use it before they start chucking EMP grenades. So that's why it's still good. It's still good to has it, but it has way too many counters to be in the very strong, and it's too great to be in the good. So it's where it should be. It's below firebomb. As much as I hate cleaners, they're really good if they're used properly. But the mag or the mag barrier is definitely where it's at. It's definitely where it's at. It has 407 HP, and it blocks enemy fire and projectiles. And abilities. Just remember that. It's a very, very good class. Where does Phantoms even come from? What is it based off of? Phantoms come from Ghost Recon Phantoms, the future soldiers, by the way. I didn't even say Deadsec. Deadsec is from Watch Dogs 2, the cyber attackers. The next one, Blitz Shield, very weak, pointless. It can be countered by everything. You can shoot their feet. If you're elevated, you're like a little bit above them, you can shoot them in the head. You're very weak on the sides. Blitz shield is not good. Not good. Yeah, you get Semtex can be thrown at you. It can be countered by practically everything. Uh, it stays up for 25 seconds and it comes with a 15-second cooldown. Cool, that's fine. You can run around this for 25 seconds, but now you're not a gun in the fight and people can shoot you from distance. It's just not good. There's not. Maybe there's one situation where you're in a 1v1 on an objective and you're toying with them, but we gotta think like objective based, team based. You're putting yourself down as practically useless if you're using a blitz shield against a team. Yeah, at first, like the first second, you might be okay. But if you're facing a competent team, you're gonna get your feet shot out. You're gonna get shot from the sides. You're gonna get semtext. It's really not. It's not worth using a blitz shield if you're planning to win a game on the objective. Cool, it's fine, it's funny. It's almost a meme ability. It is a meme ability. If I see a shield running at me and then I'll like playing escort, okay, let's shoot you in your feet. I use EMP nades. It's not worth it. We're done with that. Aegis. The Aegis Ultra. Spherical plasma shield combined with an electro scattergun for close quarters combat. For this one, it lasts for 15 seconds and has a 20-foot radius. It one-shots mag barriers. It's really good on objective, right? However, everybody knows the ways to counter it. You can be hit with a lockout, and that'll take you out of the ability. You can have the cleaners walk into your bubble and blow you up with a firebomb if you're not paying attention. You have teammates that can stand in it. Yes. Yeah, you could all sit together in a bubble and sit there, and you can move on an objective for it. But it also does have its counters, and the spider bot can still go on your face. However, it really doesn't really do anything. You can actually not focus on the spider bot and you'd be okay. You can still use your scatter gun to one hit anybody. But grenades can counter you, because if they throw a grenade on the ground, it actually bounces in to the alt. If you did not know that, if you throw a grenade, it'll actually for some reason bounce in, and that's why people just hold nades. If you could die to somebody just holding a grenade in their hand. They just run up to you now. You blow yourself up to take out the alt. It's not a bad move. It's a good counter. Semtex on the ground is gonna blow you up. So I can't put it in very strong. I would like to because of the ejective mindset, but it has too many counters. The firebomb, grenades, and really a purifier can run in. It's a 1-for-1. You're not gonna win it. You're gonna tie that part, but it can be really good for the objective. Escort pushes, like if you're going from like 90% or like 92%, you can run it all the way up if you're not getting absolutely blasted, but you can still be blasted. Super good for objective. Super good for objective, but it has too many counters. If you have 4 people shooting your ult, it's probably gonna go down pretty quickly. So I'm gonna put this in great. However, I'm trying to figure out where I want to put this in great, because it's better than Fabricator. Spiderbot's only there because of a bug. Lockout takes out Aegis, but you could use this in more scenarios. Yeah, you could use it in more scenarios, so it's definitely great. I wouldn't say it's better than the mag barrier because you can use it more often. You can use the mag barrier a lot. And then for the Supremo Ultra, I say, honestly, I feel like that's neck and neck. You could probably flip these two. You could definitely flip these two. If there was a thing that I could like put it like on top of each other, then I would. But you could definitely flip these two if you wanted to. These go hand in hand. You could use a Supremo inside the Aegis, and it works well. But this is my list. This is what I think the abilities are right now in xDefiant. Of course, these can change overnight with the patch that's coming up very soon. But at the end of the day, that's kind of my opinion for each ability. That's my description of each ability. If I miss anything, please let me know in the comments. This is my first list, so if there are ways that I could do it better, please let me know. And as I said during the video, I appreciate you all for watching. This is my first actual legitimate YouTube video being uploaded. If you have any questions or concerns or how I can make this better, please let me know in the comment section or hit me up on Twitch. I do stream Thursdays through Tuesday, with Wednesday being my off day. I'll be uploading a lot of things on Wednesday if I can. As I said before, Tuesdays are my more instructional / guides for xDefiant specifically. If you want to stop by the stream, you could go to my Twitch channel and see my schedule on there. You can hop in the Discord. The Discord pops up a lot. I'll put it in the description of this video, but it also pops up a lot during the YouTube video you just watched. So if you did enjoy the video, please like the video and then subscribe, because you will be seeing more content from me in the future. Peace out, and thank you for watching.